Hey, you guys want to see if I can rocket jump in this game?
Back at it again with the brand new TDS video. However, I was originally going to hold off of uploads until this Tesla tower was released. However, it once again has gotten delayed until like December or something.
Not another one?
Probably even much later. Another W for TDS, aka Tower Delay Simulator. As I was going through my loadout inventory, just looking at all the exclusive towers I have and somehow not having the Elf Tower after like 2 to 3 years of its release date, I came across one of the most, or probably even is the most useless and meaningless tower in the entirety of TDS, you know, alongside the Paintballer, and that is the SnowBaller. He even has the same ER last part of his name, just like the Paintballer, so you know he's already gonna be bad. But this man is on a whole nother level of being bad, okay? So this man was released last year on the Christmas time event, and after completing easy mode on whatever that Frost Wizard Angel dude was, you unlocked the SnowBaller. Now, judging from just his, like, you know, design and how much money he costs to place down, you already know for a fact he's not gonna be that good. Probably like on the same level as like the Freezer, or maybe if you're a bit more optimistic, probably perhaps kind of similar to the Cryomancer, or somewhere around all the other freezing or slowing down towers. However, this man is a lot less reliable as compared to those guys. So when you first place this man down, he, well, throws snowballs at enemies and slows them down, you know, gives them those chill effects.
Why won't you die?
And then once you level him up to level max, he just freezes them, and that's it. That's literally it. You know who else does the exact same thing? Well, the Freezer. And this man is a, what was it, intermediate tower or something like that, and is honestly an okay-ish freezing down tower because of just his very fast repeating pistol, setting it to random, allowing him to slow down and of course damage and freeze many enemies at the same exact time. Honestly, he's okay. However, the SnowBaller, on the other hand, is not at all. Not only does he not have a fast rate of fire compared to the Freezer, but also just his damage is lacking. And not only that, but also just the missing purpose of this entirety of this tower. Like, literally, he throws snowballs that deal very little damage for first, but once you level them up to level max, whatever that is, level 3 or something, it does 20 damage per hit. However, if you're looking for a tower that slows down, freezes, and of course does a lot of damage, you should be looking towards the Sledger, or of course the Frost Blaster if you're looking for high DPS and all that other sorts, and not the SnowBaller. So not only does this man lack on rate of fire, but also firepower, and of course any sort of strategies to even be placed on. Now, to be fair for this guy, he is necessarily one of the easiest towers to claim, at least back then, because all you had to do was just complete the event in easy mode, and as you all know, easy mode is very easy mode. So easy mode being easy mode, you expect it not to be any difficult whatsoever. It's literally tutorial mode essentially. And unlocking this tower from easy mode usually means that they're not going to be that good. Now, you can say the exact same thing to the, what was it, Hexscape event with the Rocketeer girl, because this girl is honestly a very terrible tower as well. Now, don't get me wrong, she isn't the worst tower in the game, okay? Especially when I decided to use them in the sandbox thing, they did a lot more damage than I remembered on their max level, and not only that, but they also can push back enemies every other like rocket shot or whatnot, which honestly is pretty okay. And then of course to light them on fire. So not only are they okay-ish, but they also have somewhat of a possible situations where they can actually be placed in some loadouts to actually get the most amount of value possible. While this goal was also completed by, you know, beating easy mode during that event on the final night, the SnowBaller, on the other hand, was completed by, you know, you getting him in easy mode, but this man is a lot worse than anyone could have ever asked for. He doesn't have any passive abilities or any other activation abilities, unlike the Freezer. He also has a literal ice grenade which throws into a huge AoE radius can also slow down and freeze many enemies. And of course, that's just one freezer. Many freezers can actually provide a lot of value, and you can see the exact same thing with many other ice and also slowing down towers, like for an example the electroshocker, the toxic gunner. However, I even tried to use this snowballers in a big crowd. However, it was okay, I guess, but I mean, compared to all of the other ones with much more better damage and radius, and of course much more consistency of freezing enemies and slowing them down a lot faster, the snowballer is just not good in any circumstances at all. Now I know you guys have already been listening to this for like 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay, we all know, yes, this man is terrible and dog shit. But why am I necessarily harping on him so much? Well, that's mainly because out of all the towers to be released in this game, such as, you know, exclusive towers, they all have a meaningful purpose in this game, such as, for an example, the toxic gunner, a pretty cheap tower to place down that slows enemies down, deals damage to them, and is honestly pretty damn good. The Jester, having many different bombs that can light enemies on fire, confuse them, slow them down, etc, etc. And then even that rocket girl I was literally talking about is also pretty good, even though she's only very close range of being the exact same price to essentially place down, is also way better than the snowballer that could he ever be. Now you can use the example of the Gladiator, and I would honestly say the Gladiator is way better than the snowballer could ever be, because, well, as you all know, he does much more damage than the snowballer, and of course has an activation ability, which of course can increase his rate of fire of his swings and a little bit more of his damage. And even him has a better purpose than the snowballer, which I mean is kind of surprising because, you know, he's an exclusive tower. Usually exclusive towers are supposed to be like these towers where you essentially use them in specific situations and that they could essentially have a very good amount of value. However, the snowballer in every single situation you can even think of has already many competitors that already dominate the competition. You've got the Sledger, you've got the Freeze Blaster, you've got the Cryomancer, the Freezer, you've got so many other better and much more guaranteed reliable towers. However, the snowballer is not one to even be used if you're just trying to have fun in a game. If you're trying to have fun with the slow tower, use a Cryomancer or something. The snowballer is honestly one of the most pointless towers to be introduced into this entirety of this game. And that's saying more about this guy than the paintballer. I mean, the paintballer is already a terrible tower, no one uses him at all, and is mainly like a joke tower, or more or less people just meme on because of just how terrible and pointless he is. But he's more or less just a, hey, look at this, a paintballer in a zombie apocalypse. Ha ha ha, laugh at that. But the snowballer, on the other hand, is literally just a guy who can throw snow at enemies, but does significantly less damage, slows them down, yes, and even ices them, but I mean, why am I still harping on it? You already know what I'm saying. And Jesus Christ, dude, why is TDS delaying so many of these updates already? Tesla Tower was supposed to be released in September.
That was a fucking lie.
Now it's been a whole 2 months and they're still delaying it until like January or something. That is definitely a W for Tower Delay Simulator, alright?